Hi, it's Mike Ferry, and welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. I have to tell you, we've really enjoyed this experience that we've been doing with all of you now for several years. We've actually been doing Mike Ferry TV. I think it's probably going on the 7th or 8th year, maybe the 9th. And we've today now had virtually millions of views of this information that we keep providing for you. So thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. And most importantly, we hope that the ideas are going to help you become a better agent. I believe they are. I think you probably know they are. It's the application that is the name of the game. Today, we're going to look at how does a seller select or choose the best agent for getting their home listed for sale. You know, they have a process they go through. We go through a process to find a potential seller, to do the lead follow-up, to pre-qualify, to get the pre-listing package in their hands and make a presentation. It's a process that you have to follow. Well, what we don't understand is often the sellers have a process they go through. You know, they're going to drive around, they're going to see signs. That makes a big difference. They're going to have friends that refer them to different people. They're going to maybe be talking to you because you were smart enough to actually prospect and find them. Generally speaking, your sellers are going to talk to 2 or 3 or 4 agents in that selection process. Now understand, the sellers are going to have a relationship with many people in the industry that we many times are not aware of. Sellers choose an agent based A, on a relationship, B, on our sales abilities, sales skills. Well, if we don't have a relationship, if they're not a past client, if they're not in our center of influence, if they're not a neighbor, a friend, a relative, well, then we have to perform at a little higher level over here. And that whole process of how does the seller select an agent becomes even more important. So I've put together a rather lengthy list of what we have determined as to how the seller selects the agent. Let's go through them together. No order of importance, but all very important. So I wrote down first, they select the agent based upon the natural personal power that you display. When you walk into that house, are you walking in a little timid, a little shy, a little afraid, a little stressed, a little nervous? And the answer to that is probably yes in many cases. Or you're walking in with an attitude of confidence, an attitude of discipline, an attitude of, I am the right person to get your home sold. Because that is the personal power that attracts people to you. Don't kid yourself. They are very critical of you and I. The moment they open that door, they start critiquing us. In fact, many times, they actually decide to list with you or not list with you in the first 3 or 4 seconds they see you and hear you. Personal power, the confidence you display. Second reason they pick us, because the knowledge and skills we have are stronger than those other people we talk to, that they have talked to. How strong is your knowledge of the market? How strong is your knowledge of the seller because you're pre-qualified? How strong are the skills? If they ask you a question, can you answer it? If they give you an objection, can you actually give them a straightforward answer? The skills are what they're looking for. They don't know they're looking, and when you demonstrate them, they will select you because of skills. I wrote down there, they choose us because of the words we use. I know it sounds simple, but the words we use are a huge influence on a seller, or in essence, scripts. Now you're going to say, well, I'm not a script person. Well, then what kind of a person are you? A non-script person? A wing it person? I say what's ever on my mind type of person? See, if we're using that type of a mindset, we're in such a huge disadvantage with the seller because they're looking for somebody that's prepared, professional, well-scripted, and can support those things they say with the confidence and knowledge of what they're presenting. So therefore, the words we use are many times the choice that they make. You need to think about the scripts. I wrote down they choose us because we're involved in the process of selling versus telling. Okay, real estate people talk, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes. I was talking to an agent virtually a couple days ago, and I said, are you following the scripts? She said, well, not really. I said, may I ask why? Well, I kind of like to talk to them. And how long do you talk to them? Well, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes. Watch, that is a process most people use. You're trying to talk them into listing versus the sales process, which is asking a lot of You know the answer, questions. Great salespeople ask questions, listen intently to the answer, then ask the next question to lead that prospect to a conclusion that is good for both parties. So are we telling or versus are we selling? Watch number 5. They choose us because of clear enunciation of the words we use. In society today, there's 10,000 accents. There's 10,000 different nationalities. We all have a nationality that we're more comfortable with. We all have a word and phrase we use the most. We all have a way of enunciating words. The clearer the enunciation of the words, easier it is for them to understand. Practice enunciation to get them to choose you more often. You're going to love the next one. They choose us because of our smile, our firm handshake, and nodding our head in a positive manner. They choose us because of our smile. Are you so serious that you're almost frigid? Are you so serious you're almost cement-like? The firmness of your handshake. They want a confident, firm handshake. And of course, they're going to look at you as you nod your head, because I know that I can get your home sold. Are you prepared to start right now? I wrote down next, they choose of us because of our business attire. I've shared this with many, many people, and I probably brought it up last week. 2 agents show up at a buy owner. One is wearing a suit and tie. Who gets the listing? The other one's wearing shorts and a golf shirt. Who does not get the listing? This happens all the time. The public is so judgmental. It's not fair, it's not right, but it's called the facts of life. Business attire. They choose us because of the strength of our voice. And I have people say to me all the time, well, how do you strengthen your voice? How about practicing using your voice? This is a muscle like that is a muscle, like your heart's a muscle. And if you strengthen it, guess what? It adds a lot of credibility. Anybody can strengthen their voice if they choose to. They choose us because we listen to what they're saying versus listening so we can respond quickly. Are we really listening to what they say? Or are we so worried about saying the next thing? Why do you think we ask you to practice skills, practice scripts, practice dialogues, practice responses all the time? So you can listen instead of being worried about what you're going to say next. They choose us because we give them straightforward answers to their questions. Folks, when they ask us a question, they want an answer. I was talking to an agent 2 weeks ago, and I asked her 3 different questions, and she never answered one of them. I finally said, you're not answering the questions I'm asking. I'm asking you about A, and you're answering R. I'm asking you about C, and you're answering M. What's the hang up here? I want an answer, or I wouldn't ask the question. Sellers want an answer. Straightforward. Now, do they always like your answers? No, but you got to give an answer. I say they chose us because we're well practiced and we can present with strength and authority. The only way to really present with strength and authority is to be well practiced at what you do. The higher the intensity of the practice, the more strength that you can use in presenting. You become an authority when you understand the process it takes to get a home sold. When you can explain that process, you're an authority. They choose us because we're willing to tell them the truth. That's a hard one. Does the seller ever really want to hear the truth regarding price? Absolutely not. Does the seller really want to hear what you're going to say about the steps you're going to take? No, because they have preconceived ideas of what they think should be done. When you get in the habit of telling the truth, they're not always going to like you, but they're going to respect you, and they're going to choose you because they respect you. They choose us because we have standards we will not go below. Will you cut your commission? No. Any other questions? We want to give you a 90-day listing. I only accept 180 days. May I tell you why? See, when you have standards you won't go below, they actually choose you because they have a level of respect for those standards. And then, of course, I wrote down last, sometimes they choose you because you're not afraid to stand up, smile, shake their hand, and walk out without the listing. Well, are you mean to say that you're going to stand up and walk out without the listing? It's going to happen, and many times they're going to call you back and say, okay, we'll accept the standards you've given us. There's a lot of reasons that they choose an agent. We want to have you the best prepared to go into a house, make a good presentation, and be the one they choose most often. If you're not being chosen on a regular basis by sellers, it's because these types of ideas are not in your sales system yet. Let's put them into effect. Watch this particular Mike Ferry TV message every day this week. Write every one of these thoughts down, and then next week we'll continue with more ideas to help you in November and December. Have a great week. Talk to you next week.